This is a regular city council meeting of the City of Ocean Shores. It is August 13th, 2024, and the time is 6 p.m. The meeting is being held at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. The meetings are simulcast and archived on KOSW Radio. Meetings are live streamed with closed captioning and may be accessed on the city website under council recordings. The meeting can be viewed on cable channel 68 Thursdays at 12 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. We have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Sires.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Grable.
Here.
Councilmember Klein.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Wills.
Here.
Councilmember Hartman.
Here.
Councilmember Scott, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I can, and can I just say after the Pledge of Allegiance, if we can maybe do a round of happy birthday for Mr. Hartman, that would be great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rich. Happy birthday to you. Is that are you getting red in the face, Rich? Oh. All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve today's agenda.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to remove item 13, our ethics paperwork. The attorney has it, and she has not had a chance to completely review everything, so we would like to wait until we hear back from her with answers to our questions.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so that'll be removed. We don't have any ceremonies or proclamations. We have one vacancy on the Civil Service Commission, one vacancy on the Planning Commission, and one vacancy on the Library Board of Trustees. The upcoming board and committee meetings, Washington State Auditors entrance conference will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the library. Parks Board is also tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the library. Library Board of Trustees is also tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Busy day for the library. Finance Committee is August 20th at 11 a.m. Public Works Committee will be August 15th at 3:30. The Radio Board will be August 27th at 10:30. And the Planning Commission will be August 27th, also at 2 p.m. Yes, City Clerk.
We need a motion to approve. We amended. We haven't approved the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Thanks. I would like to appoint Stephen Kern for the Planning Commission with council concession.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And I would also like to appoint Leon Bronner to the Library Board of Trustees with council concession.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So next up, we have reports, and we're going to get a golf course report by council member and birthday boy Rich Hartman.
Since I see the agenda is extremely light now, I'll take a long time. Let me just get to some of the basics. I've spoken to many of you, and obviously dealing with finance department a lot and administration a lot. A year ago, we were all very excited about the new path we were taking. And I was as open-minded as anybody about our choice with Troon. I will say that Troon's not delivering on their promises at all. I'm sorry to say that. Everything can still be fixed, but they need to come to the table with the mayor and the administration. It's really sad to me because it's simple things. They just basically haven't showed. They just have not shown up to our golf course. I don't want to pick on our local employees. They're great. They work hard, but they have no direction from corporate in Arizona. And it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to us. We all knew that we were not experts in running a golf course. And we hired as what we thought the best in the business to come to our town with the reputation they had and the references that they had to help us grow. And instead, they've embarrassed themselves. Just sorry to say that. Again, this is not a reflection on the local employees. It's not even a reflection on the district manager. I've never seen a person work so hard and be so frustrated with his corporate structure above him. It's literally the Arizona part of Troon that's a disappointment. They showed one time in a year, and that was in June. They sent their head agronomist, the head of merchandising, and the head of marketing, and they were here for 3 days, I believe. They met with some of the administration. They met with some of the employees. They wrote 3 really great reports and sent them in. And they're sitting there collecting dust like so many reports get, put on a shelf, because the people that are here have never been trained by them. So you can hand the groundskeeper a report on agronomy that's detailed in 10 or 12 pages, but now you need boots on the ground. You need to show that person how to put those reports into practice. When you don't train people how to put merchandise into the point of purchase, when you constantly on a daily basis have employees that aren't able to use the system very efficiently, it's just sad, and it's all coming from Arizona. So sorry to bring a negative, but enough's enough, and I know that the mayor is working on it, and I want council to be aware and the citizens to be aware that all of this can be fixed in 30 days. Now, what's Troon going to do? Comparing, since we now have 3 months to compare to last year, May, June, and July of 23. Kind of looks like this. We had 5,846 rounds a year ago, those 3 months. This year we had 4,277, so 27% less rounds. We had some weather issues. We always like to blame other things, but we had less rounds. That was a decrease in revenue of $26,391. Our profits last year for May, June, and July, the net profit to the city last year was $69,594 for those first 3 months. This year, those 3 months of May, June, and July of 2024 were in the hole $41,000. So I wish I could tell you I believe those numbers. I wish I could tell you that these financials are perfect. They're not even close. There's gaps. I know our finance office has asked them specifically on different lines, and we don't get answers. Why is a Troon monthly fee 1 month in the 8,000 range, and another month it's 11 or 12,000? What are they doing? Where'd it come from? Where's this extra tax coming from? That's $5,000 1 month and zero the next. There's just the financials aren't anywhere near perfect. I'm not going to say that the bottom line isn't necessarily correct, but the way they've put them in the different buckets on this statement, they're not in the right buckets. They're not on the right lines. The way they like to fill things out, they'll say we've got 1,810 public rounds in July of 2024 and 377 member rounds for 2,187. But then the month before, they had 0 member rounds. They only had public rounds. Well, we know they had member rounds. They just didn't put stuff in the right bucket. So once you start looking at things, you question it. We had a month where we had, every time you do an inventory, believe it or not, inventories aren't perfect from month to month. There's overages and shrinkages. And, we get one month where we've got, a few $1,000s worth of shrinkage. Well, was that a month or was that for the year to date? They need to answer our question. They aren't yet. So, again, I know that Sarah's working with them, and I know that Scott and the mayor are on it, but council needs to be aware that life isn't good yet. We need to support our local employees, but more importantly, Troon needs to come out of Arizona. They need to send their 3 department heads for agronomy, merchandising, and marketing to our city. They need to start visiting us once a quarter. They need to start actually training the people that they expect to do the work, and then follow up to make sure they actually knew how to do the work. And we're getting none of that. So sorry for that report, but it is what it is.
All right, thanks for the straight talk, for sure. We are not going to have a radio board report today. Marty was not able to make it. So we'll move on to public comment. Oh, sorry, Mark. I switched papers here, and I should have left that one up. Next is Planning Commission, and thank you, Mark, for the report.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. City Council, Ocean Shores residents. I'm Mark Lawless. I'm chair of the Ocean Shores Planning Commission. I was here on July 9th with the first reading of changing municipal code to 650 minimum square feet in single-family residence zones and a 40% restriction on residential lots in all residential zones. Councilman Wills, you asked 2 questions. We've been working on those 2 questions, so I'd like to give an update on those. First question is, why are non-accessory structures limited to 3 structures? And you had spoken that you would like to eliminate the restriction as long as the 40% rule applied. We looked at that. We had spirited discussions. The Planning Commission recommends that we stay with the 3. Your other question, sir, was why can't accessory dwelling units be rented to anyone? Of course, our code says you can only rent, or you can only have people staying in your accessory dwelling units that are family or caretakers to the individual in the primary residence. But as we were doing the research to answer your question, we were surprised because we found that RCW 35A.21.314, which states, a city code may not limit the number of unrelated persons that may occupy a household or dwelling unit. It became obvious to us that our code is out of date. So our recommendation to that is if an accessory dwelling unit is rented, it can only be rented for long-term rental, which is defined as more than 30 days. So we will be making the recommendation to council to update our code based on your questions. We appreciate that. So we've been working on those things and others. I'd just like to remind the community that we meet the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, 2 p.m. at the Ocean Shores Library. We're also available via Zoom. I invite each and every one of you to come join us. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That was a great report. All right, we're going to move on now to public comment. Public communication to council is intended for communication to the city council regarding general council business or policy not on tonight's agenda. Address comments or questions to the city council body, not an individual member or city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We request that comments be nice and respectful. This is not a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage in conversation with the public. No person may use the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertisement. The city council will begin the time once the citizen has started their public comment. At 2 minutes, you will see a green light, followed by a yellow light indicating 30 seconds that remain to your public comment period. The red light will notify the reader that the public comment time has ended. The order of the public comments will be first for individuals attending in person, second for individuals attending remotely. General public comment, whether in person or remotely, will continue in the usual position on the agenda. So, who do we have up, Scott?
All right, good evening. We have 8 public comments. The first, Pat Bosch, Camping Days.
Hello. Hopefully this will be the last time for a while that I have to find a way up here and not want to throw up. So my husband and I took a trip 2 weeks ago. We went down the coast. We realized, geez, there's no traffic between here and the bridge. Go over into Astoria, you hit on 101, and you're in a traffic jam from the time you hit north side of Seaside up there, down through Lincoln City, down around to Newport. You're in a traffic jam. And we realized just how unique our town is, just how different we are as a destination place on the beach versus 101. So you can't just think that you were going to have masses and masses of people drive past our street. When we were thinking about that, we thought not only is Ocean Shores unique, I mean, we love it. I would not want to live anyplace else. And from day one, Ocean Shores has been home to some very high-end homes, some beautiful medium-end homes, and some property that people chose to use as their vacation getaway. It's been that way since day one. Anybody that would call in or make a comment and say, I don't want to look out my window and see a $500,000 motorhome, or it's lessening the value of my home, knew it when you bought it. There is no way anybody in this city can make me believe they did not know the structure of this city when they purchased. We've been fighting. If you go back, believe me, 3 years ago when we did this, I pulled up data from 2000, I went back as far as 1970. And since then, going forward, this discussion with us and whoever's behind that table has been going on. It's gone anywhere from, boom, you have 30 days to be on your property with no notice. Then they bumped it up to 60. Then they gave 90. And then my yellow light's on. And then back in 2011, multiple council people, commission people were pushing out there for 180 days. So a lot of that has come and gone over the years. I'm just saying, it's been long enough. Obviously, 180 days would be like bonus. I didn't even realize till I reread that it was available till Sarah brought that up about Grays Harbor, and I'm a red light. But
I'm
just,
sorry, that's time.
just, yeah.
Nancy Eldridge, Coastal Interpretive Center upcoming events.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to promote a couple of things that we've got coming up at the Coastal Interpretive Center. First, I wanted to let everybody know that we have started a recruitment process to fill at least 4 seats on the CIC Board of Directors for 2025. We're entering a new era at the Interpretive Center with a new director, and so we're looking for new people who would be interested in helping us achieve our vision of being a world-class interpretive center that is a destination for visitors to come to Ocean Shores and that provides extraordinary education programs and exhibits. We're looking for new board members with new skill sets and new ideas to help us achieve that vision. After 14 years on this board, I can tell you how extremely rewarding it is to help in the growth and development of such an amazing organization. So I do highly recommend if anybody's interested. For information about what it means to be a board member or on how to apply for an open board seat, you can contact our director, Jacob Baker, and he will have the proper board member representative get a hold of you and explain about the process and what it means to be a board member and board expectations. Jacob can be reached by phone at the center at 360-289-4617, or he can be reached via email at jbaker@interpretivecenter.org. That's JBAKER @interpretivecenter.org. New board members are voted onto the board by our membership at our annual membership meeting every year on the second Saturday of October. So this year that falls on October 12th. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about tonight is to remind everyone that we have our annual dinner and auction coming up. That's the first Saturday in October, which is October 5th this year. This year, the gala will be at the new Oyhat Bay Event Center, which is really pretty exciting. It's brand new and it's gorgeous. So if you want to support the CIC, and I know you all do, or if you just want to, if you're just clamoring to see this extraordinarily new, wonderful new facility, tickets are available on our website at interpretivecenter.org. It's really easy to remember. Or stop by the center and someone can help you out there. The tickets are all available online. So dinner selections and everything like that. It's going to be a wonderful plated dinner, so come. There's a special members only price. So if you're not a member yet and you want to save some money, this is your chance. Become a member and you can save some money on the gala tickets. And there's also an early bird ticket price until Labor Day, so get those tickets early. The Ocean Shores Pirates will be there, so bring your enthusiasm for fun and shenanigans. If you've participated in our gala in the past, you know how much fun we have every year. If you'd like to reserve a table, you have 8, 9, or 10 people, get a hold of somebody at the center, and we'll make sure that we tag that table for you. So the tables can seat 8, 9, or 10. 10 might be a little crowded. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave Murdoch, 120-day RV provisions.
Good evening. I just wanted to finish with that nice young lady was stopped at this point. I've owned homes down here on the lake. I own 2 lots now, RV lots that I've set up, and they're actually very beautiful lots. And I think we're nothing but a good asset to the community at this point, as beautiful as my lot is. And I would love to say I'd like to stay longer, you know, and it's hard for me to believe that when I have a title to my property, I'm being told when I can and can't come here. So anyway, just to add what she was stopped saying, let's vote that thing through and let's get her done. And somebody was saying something about some trash bags or something. I don't know what. Can somebody answer that question? We had to purchase. What? Oh, they can't answer. Oh, of course. Anyway, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Nancy Milliman, thank you.
Good evening. This is the shortest public comment I think I've ever made. But my neighbors and I thank our police department for their prompt and effective response via our non-emergency line. Thanks, guys.
Not to be outdone, Jen Hyatt, a big thank you.
Hi, thank you. And I do thank the police and the fire department. My big thank you is to the city and to the staff and to the convention center group. We had a night out last week, and I think it was pretty well attended. I wish there were more people there. The hot dogs were delicious. The people were very nice and friendly, and just thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, and I'd like to give all of you a big thank you. And hopefully we can do it next year. Thank you so much.
David Lynn, 1750-100, Part 1.
Good evening, council members. I'm David Lynn, a 15-year resident of Ocean Shores. I'm speaking tonight and at future meetings about a topic of great importance and which I have spoken about frequently over the past 5 years. Since there's been no change, as such, I may be the incarnation of insanity as colloquially defined. Section 17.50.100C2 of the City Code states, at the time of clearing grading permit application, a plan for landscaping shall be submitted to the city that clearly indicates the applicant's plan for meeting the landscaping and erosion prevention requirements of the section. Part A says the plan shall be to scale. B says the plan shall indicate the location of all structures, outbuildings, decks, gazebos, driveways, etc., and the location of all existing significant trees. Neither of these two is ever complied with. Rather, all that is submitted is a crude sketch, which consists of an irregular closed shape with the words, clear all trees and brush. That's what the planning department accepts as a landscaping plan. Note well that the landscaping plan is required to be submitted at the time of application. When queried about this, the planning department replied, landscaping typically does not occur until after the clearing and grading phase. Apparently, before means after in the planning department. Section C3 says that lot clearing and grading permits will follow the city's intent of preserving significant trees. That is ignored. Section C4 states that the clearing and grading permit shall be issued only upon approval of a properly completed landscaping plan. Must it be more clear? Why is this important? In addition to the environmental degradation that is being permitted, you were sold a bill of goods earlier this year when you were told that a $10,000 bond would solve all the problems with the illegal lot clearing. Based upon this assurance, you approved a change to this section of the code. This new section of the ordinance states that if the landscaping requirements have not been met, the owner will be released from the bond. You see the problem here? Since there is no landscaping plan submitted with the application, there are no requirements to be met in order to release the bond. Therefore, there is no bonding requirement, and the illegal lot clearing continues unabated. Each and every day, the department continues to rubber stamp applications that do not meet even the basic requirements set forth in the code, and are creating the ugly scars that we see all about our town. The council must address this issue. To be continued.
Debbie B's invitation, Turkish version, Scott.
I'm waiting, Scott. First of all, I'd like to address the gentleman's questions about the bags. They're available at Ace Hardware. You get 3 bags for $10. I just want to invite everybody where the long-standing Welcome Ocean Shores sign is at the front gate. It was created by a legendary female woodcarver, Judy McVeigh, who is famous on not only the North Beach, but the entire world. She has done signs in Paris, all over the world. A lot of people know her and love her. And we would like to celebrate her and the retirement of this sign Thursday at 6 o'clock at the front gate, just to share stories about her and get our last pictures with this sign, North Beaches TV, John Reed videos, and even will be videoing and the event that no one shall forget her talents. If you'd like to attend, please be sure to park at a secure parking lot, not obstruct any of the roadways. We'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
And lastly, Jane Shattuck, City Kennel.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Ocean Shores. I haven't given a report on the kennel lately, and it's basically because of good news. In July, we had very, very few visitors, and they were in and out, and no full-timers. I do want to bring up something, though, as I always do, is the volunteers at the kennel and the love and the care they have for the animals. We do have an animal that's in there now, up for adoption, a dog. And I just wanted to read a post that one of the volunteers from the kennel made to show you how much these people care and give their time for these animals that are needing a lovely home. And it reads, "Special dog. She's approximately 2 years old, a husky mix. We're calling her Trophy because she's a unique treasure. From the moment you gaze into her bright blue eyes and receive her friendly outreach paw, you will be captivated. She loves all people, walks extremely well on a leash. She comes when called and will immediately roll over for a tummy rub. Trophy is ready for a loving, active family. Waiting in a kennel isn't fun, yet you will be met with a huge smile when you come to meet Trophy. Better hurry, we only have one Trophy." And that is how much these people care about this dog. But I also just want to get it out there. If anybody needs a dog, we have a very beautiful, loving dog down at the kennel. Thank you.
We have any online? Nope. Oh. All right. City Administrator report.
Good evening. As most of you know, well, it's not most of you. Anyone who follows me on Facebook knows I flew back from Istanbul and got back rather late last night. So I have had a chance to go through my email and get caught up. I have not put together a report, but I would be remiss without saying I cannot thank the city clerk enough for keeping up with my emails in my absence and forwarding them to the appropriate places and deleting the vast amounts of junk mail that I get every day, which I get a lot from companies all over the United States. That we don't delete. Those we don't delete. However, I just wanted to thank her for all the work she did, so I did not come back to a complete mess. I had a wonderful time, and if anyone wants to talk to me about it, we can talk about it after this. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott. Council liaison reports and committee reports. Richard, would you like to start us?
Thank you. I have nothing to report.
Okay, Rich.
I attended gender review, more LTAC meetings with Sarah. Attended National Night Out so I could get a free hot dog from the mayor.
All right, thanks. Tom.
I think we haven't had a couple meetings for a while, and they'll be up around the corner in a couple days, so I'll have something to report when we actually have the meeting. Thank you.
All right. Lisa Scott.
Attended agenda review, signed warrants, and just this week we will have Public Works Committee on Thursday. So I will be attending that, and Council of Governments on Thursday as well. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Allison.
I attended agenda setting, and that's it. We've got finance and public works coming up.
All right, thank you. Denise.
I signed warrants the past 2 weeks. Radio board is coming up on the 27th, and I brought my free hot dog home from National Night Out.
All right. Lisa Griebel.
Just a reminder that the library board meeting is tomorrow, which is Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And the library is now currently completely staffed. They're super excited about that. Lots of great activities going on, including this Friday. They have a hands-on children's museum from Olympia coming for 2 hours of outdoor play on their pavilion. But check out their website for all the things happening at the library. And I ate my hot dog there. I did not take it home.
All right, thank you. Mayor's report. August 31st is going to be the last day for the city composting program. We will start that back up again April 1st in 2025. So I'm hoping everybody's got their grass cut and their bushes trimmed and weeds pulled by now. So the oil recycling, that will be open year-round, and that's every Wednesday from 12 noon to 3 p.m. We'll keep that going. It was mentioned the Auditor's Entrance Conference, that will be open to the public, and it will be tomorrow at the library at 11 a.m. And this meeting will be with the Washington State Auditor's Office to discuss our upcoming audit. We do have some construction projects starting up next week, and we have the HVAC units that have been on order here for a while. They will be replaced here in this building in the convention center, along with the soffit painting will be getting started also. The lake and canal treatment will be starting up next week, and this will include treating the water, and also there will be harvesting. And myself and probably another person from the city is going to ride along on that harvesting, because we're really looking at that as a option to keep the weeds cleared up without treating the water. So I want to see personally how this works and what we can do with implementing that here at the city. And that's it for my report. I need a approval for the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We don't have any old business, new council business. We have an ordinance for the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores amending the 2023-2024 budget ordinance number 1097, 2023-2024 budget amendment ordinance number 1102, and the 2023-2024 budget amendment ordinance number 1108, and that will be presented by City Clerk Sarah Logan.
So we haven't done a budget amendment in quite some time. Typically, we would have done several more, but we dealt with a transition, as you guys know, so we're kind of catching up. What you are seeing on the budget amendment is 6 different approved functions, whatever they were, that required a budget amendment. So there's various things on here. Some things is what you did with the ARPA funds. Some things are what you did for the police department. Those are all in here and were a part of your agenda packet on the things that were approved on the council list. The things that you didn't approve that were a part of this amendment were we paid off more LID debt than we expected, so that's a good thing. More of it got paid off. So that was $145,000 that got taken from 106. And then we also, we project what our insurance, WCIA, will go up, and sometimes we're on the money and sometimes we're not. It was going to be projected, as every other city, a pretty high expectation. That came in and it was about $155,000. So those are all a part of your exhibits. The thing that I wanted to bring to council's attention, because I went into full-fledged panic mode and all of the finance department can attest for it, is that when you read Exhibit A, which is the summary, it shows our ending fund balance at $1.9 million, which is stressful because now I'm in charge and that's scary. But what that is what we're changing and what we're amending based on our original 2023-2024 budget. So that doesn't show any additional revenues. That doesn't show the money that we have kept in the bank account from different salaries that haven't been paid for because we didn't have them, those kinds of things. So we actually sent out the financials, a great job to our assistant treasurer, again, early in the month, and those were about $4.4 million. So after this budget amendment is completed, our ending general fund balance will be at $4.2 million. So that's a little bit of that if you want to go to public comment.
Do we have any public comment? Nobody here? Okay, how about online?
We have one online. Don Williams.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Volume's a little low, but otherwise I hear you.
Okay, well, I'll try to speak up. Okay, I thought it was a pretty good budget amendment, and just to comment on a few things that the Sarah said is that the budget has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with what's in the bank. It's just supposed to be a forecast of where you're trying to get to. So I do have a problem with what you're talking about, the 1.906 million balance, which is a budget balance on page 83. First of all, it's below the required city council minimum, which I believe is either 2 or 2.5 million now. And the budget should have just been adjusted to cut out some of the fat and to make that unbudgeted to make that number where it's supposed to be, which is I think 2 or 2.5 million. I'm not sure what the number is yet. And I also am wondering, Sarah did mention that the report at the end of July shows that it does in fact show that the city cash on hand in the general fund is $4.4 million, 4.422 million. And what I have a problem with is that's what we have now, and the 1.9 million is what we're supposed to have at the end of the year if everything goes according to plan. What are these expenses that we're going to have that's going to allow that cash balance to get back down to where the budget number says? So I'd like to have that explained. And the second thing is we have a problem with overtime, and I looked at the overtime, and that should be adjusted too. There ought to be a budget amendment for overtime. For example, end of July, in Fund 104, the Fire Emergency Fund, it was $112,000 that's been spent over and above the entire annual budget. $112,000, and we still have 5 more months to go. In the police department, it's $133,000 has been spent at the end of July over and above the ending, over and above what the budget says for the entire year. And again, we have 5 months left. So I'm wondering why we did not include in the budget amendment this time adjustments to the budget so that those very, very large and unpleasing variances don't show up. And there should have been a budget amendment to increase the amount of overtime for both fire and police and maybe elsewhere too. And that was not done. And so maybe someone can ask why that was left out. And we do have a pretty bad overtime problem. And I wonder how that's going to be solved. So at the end of the year, we don't have a very, very large negative variance in those numbers in the final reports. And those are my questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Don. Next is council questions and discussion. Any comments? Yes, Lisa?
So I'm just to clarify with what Don had said, I think you answered that question where we actually have about $4.2 million because what it didn't reflect was some of the additional savings that we have had through over time. And the second thing is I shouldn't assume, but I'm going to try to assume here and say that any kind of amendments that we need to make to the overtime will come later in the year once we know what those additional
Correct.
costs will be.
Right. Trying to re-budget or reallocate money with an expectation of overtime, it's not ridiculous. It's just not fruitful. The money is getting it debited from the account, and then we'll have to make that right. There's no two ways about that. But the council sees the money going out with those salaries, and we will have to adjust. But with that being said, there is an overtime budget. I don't think it's apples to apples, police and fire. But what we've worked really hard on, and this will come to you during the budget season, in the hopes that we are doing it better and more adequately. Not that there's not going to be any overtime, but that when you look at the budget, we have articulated what the budget should say for overtime. And what I don't think we have done in the past is really look at how much it's going up. We've kind of just put an inflation number on it, wished it the best of luck, and hope it shakes out. So we, Chief Mandela and Chief Ritter and myself and Shantae Nations have gone through and really, really calculated what we need to anticipate just to keep ourselves. This is the potential. There might be things that the administration can fix or change or whatever, but these are the potential overtime risks that we have and need to be articulated, which I don't think we've put a ton of time in before.
All right, thanks. Any other questions or comments? Richard?
I'm not sure exactly how to ask this, but in the past, it's always been explained, if my memory is correct, that overtime is high because we don't have enough full-time employees. So the overtime is actually covered by what would have gone to pay for the full-time employee if we had the full-time employee. Did I frame that kind of correctly? Or
I believe that is something that the fire chief and the assistant fire chief will explain in better detail when they come. I don't think I could say to you, by us not hiring one, it's going to cause extra overtime. They have certain minimums they have to meet. They have vacations they have to meet, and they have a problem to rectify. So saying one is causing the other or would increase another it's not worth it.
If I can say something, I've been working with the chief on this issue, and there's more than one item that's causing a problem. And so it's not just a lack of firemen that's causing this problem. Some of it has to do with the CBA, and we're working on that to get that rectified, Richard. You're okay, Rich, and then Allison.
I haven't done the math in the last couple of months, but when I went over some of the numbers in the past, budgets are fun. In the past, we have experienced about 10% of our fire budget for personnel was overtime. And as we were given the budget from 2 years ago, the budgeted amount for overtime was more towards 6%. And so, yes, we're over budget. But when you look at what percent of the department's personnel budget is overtime, it's actually a smaller percentage now than it was. You guys are working on it. We always want to have it as low as possible, but we can play numbers games all the time. So administration's working on keeping overtime down. They've got plans, but at the same point, I can put a budget together that can make the 25-26 budget look horrible as we get to the end of 26 if I want to play a game with you a little bit. So anyway, percentage-wise, we're better.
Go ahead, Allison.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending 2023-2024 budget ordinance number 1097 and 2023-2024 budget amendment ordinance number 1102 and 2023-2024 budget amendment ordinance number 1108.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, so next up, we have a discussion on the provisions for semi-developed lots and camping days, and that's going to be presented by Mayor Pro Tem Lisa Scott.
All right. I just want to thank everybody for their patience as we are working our way through this. And I want to just shout out to Richard. I appreciate all the work that you have put into this going forward. We recognize there, with this draft that you have before you, there's a lot of confusion. We went down paths that we weren't initially even looking to go down. So I'm just going to apologize and say we're going to bring back an ordinance for everybody to look at and hopefully approve at the next council meeting. But with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Richard because he really did the lion's share of the work on this second redraft, and let him kind of guide you through what he did.
Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you. And as in most things, the devil's in the details. And I can be overly detailed oriented, but I don't think so much in this case. But I came up with several questions that I think we as a council need to address as we refine this 120-day ordinance. And the first question is how do we define a camping season? Is it within a calendar year, or is it contiguous 365 days, or is there some other criteria that better fits what a camping season might look like? The problem with 90 days or 120 days in a calendar year is that if I started my 90 days in October, then January 1st I could have another 90 days, and so I've actually done 180 days of camping. So I just invite the council to say, what's the best way to define a camping season?
Go ahead, Rich.
Are we going to give him opinions while he's going through these questions? What format do you want?
This is just a discussion, so yeah, feel free. I think that to answer that one particular question is we go by a calendar year.
That would be my preference as well.
And I concur with that, but I think that needs to be the council decision, and and not a one or two person decision. So calendar year. Pardon? Are we all?
Two of us gave him direction. Anybody else want to give him direction on calendar year versus some other format?
No, I think calendar year is fine.
Denise.
I agree that we can go with calendar year. I did bring that up because I did have a citizen approach me, and they were very concerned about having their neighbor be there the end of the year and the beginning of the next year. That they have seen that before. So that's why I did bring up the question to Richard.
And I think it's a valid question, but we've reached that decision. The other thing before I go very much farther is I really want to give my thanks to all of the people who responded and emailed me some of their direct questions. It opened thought patterns that I would have never thought of before. So I want to thank the public for their input. So one of the citizen comments when we talked about this last council meeting is there is no ordinance that defines a semi-permanent camping lot. There's a definition, but a definition is not an ordinance. And so I have two thoughts. We can either create a new camping ordinance. I would call it 15 dot, I think that's 12.20 is the the undeveloped, and then I would propose a .023 for semi-developed, and then continue with a .025 for fully developed. Or another approach that I think is simpler is to just have one ordinance that covers all three scenarios. And the reason I like that particular approach is there's all of the conditions are virtually the same with just one or two exceptions, and those exceptions can be handled by condition in one ordinance rather than have three separate ordinances that virtually say the same thing. So Lisa,
I guess, sorry, I'm confused because we did define semi-developed in the ordinance that was brought forward, and it was put in as a definition on the first ordinance.
put in as a definition, but that's not an ordinance. The definition is not.
That is changing the ordinance. It does change the ordinance. The document that you had before you at the last meeting was the ordinance with the changes, and it was adding that definition in.
And I think that that's a good discussion point as I compare, for example, to the zoning ordinances. Every separate zone has its own set of conditions and exceptions and all of those criteria. And I think that format makes some sense, but all I am asking is if what you just said is what the council wants, then that's what we should do. And I just want to present another way of looking at the ordinance. And whatever the council wants to do is the right thing to do.
Sure. And we were just talking about the camping ordinance, not several different ordinances. So when we talked about semi-developed, it was under the camping.
Okay.
So that's where we initially came. So now with what you're talking about, what you're bringing in a whole variety of other things, which is fine, but those were addressed in the first ordinance draft. So now what you're doing is you're proposing to go way deeper into the code and make various changes throughout the code. And that's fine, but that's kind of what you're discussing now.
What the overall objective, I think, for all of us is to make the code as clear and as simple as possible. And that's the point of the discussion. And whatever the council believes is the way to make that as clear and concise as possible is, again, is the right thing to do. So any other council members' thoughts? Lisa?
Go ahead.
So Richard, is what you're asking by putting the definitions in this ordinance, does it create conflict with other codes or ordinances that don't have those definitions in? Is that what you're concerned about?
I'm concerned about the consistency and again, I'm raising a discussion point. It's not something that it's not a sword to die on. It's just what's the most appropriate way to handle. And I'm hearing what Lisa Scott has to say. And if we all think that by just defining semi-permanent, that satisfies the requirement, then I think that that's good. It's just the question that I think needs to be answered. And
Less is always more.
so,
Rich, go ahead.
Well, just less is more. So if what she said accomplishes it, what's next?
perfect.
I do have a question though. I wrote a couple of notes. They might not be pertinent if
Nope.
you're going with what she had said. I've got a question. Why are we mentioning non-accessory structures differently in the three descriptions? Because that makes no sense to me.
Non-accessory structures are defined in the code, and I don't remember what code it is. I can look it up pretty quickly, but we stick with whatever the definition of non-accessory structures is. And some of the comments that I received found that confusing, and why we mentioned in one, for undeveloped lots, we said non-accessory structures that might be a shed and with water, power, and sewer. And the whole distinction between the undeveloped and a semi-developed lot is a semi-developed lot has water, power, and sewer, and that's the distinction. And Lisa, please.
Richard, but the thing is we're not talking about accessory structures. We're talking camping, totally different subjects. So what you're bringing in is, again, you're bringing in a complete other sections of codes. We're only talking about camping and what we interpret as semi-developed under camping, not accessory structures.
And these are not accessory structures, and in the code that was presented at the last council meeting, it specifies not accessory structures, and it says water, power, and sewer. I invite you to look at it again.
Okay, because the only changes that we made to the code was we clarified semi-developed, we changed it to 120 days, and we added garbage bags. Loud and clear, I heard take garbage bags out of it, but those were really the only changes we made. The code stayed the same.
So then another question that how does the police officer who's called to a disturbance or a potential violation, how does that police officer know whether this is a 120-day permitted camping or a 90-day permitted camping?
It'll be on their camping notice.
Okay. And
Richard, all the camping permits are going to be online. It'll be the officer can look it up with the computer in his vehicle. It'll be very simple.
So
The online permitting system that we had talked about a couple months ago.
Okay. I think that those are all of the questions that, all of the questions that I came up with. And so, what is, as a council, what's our next step? How are we bringing this ordinance back?
Rich, go ahead.
So we're not going to worry about accessory structures now. There'll be in other parts, right?
Mhm.
So I can get rid of that question. I was worried about the mentioning of boats.
Nope, boats aren't part of it. We're talking RVs.
So
Boats
that'll
do
all
not-
go away
yeah.
too.
And what I propose at this point is maybe Richard, you and I could find some time this week. Let's get together. Let's bring back a code that we can have everybody review and hopefully approve at the next meeting. But maybe you and I working together on this would be the best option.
I think that's a great idea, and
Not to cut Rich off. I know you have more questions, but
we can coordinate, and I'm happy to do that Zoom or in person, whatever fits your schedule best.
All right, Rich?
My last one, I promise. Not that this would ever happen. It's important to me that we all say all the time, we live with the zoning. We live with what we bought. We know what we bought when we bought it. But people still like to pretend differently. So I want to make sure that when we possibly approve a longer available camping number of days on a semi-developed lot, that instantly people don't think that these are Airbnbs unless they are properly zoned for overnight rentals. So for me, it's important that even though it might be, duplicating something somewhere else, that we actually say
you'd like a
something.
distinction put into the code clarifying that these aren't to be used as overnight rentals.
Unless properly zoned.
So, and there is one more consideration that I think is important, and that is on a fully developed lot, does that lot owner get the same 120-day privilege as the semi-developed lot, or as the existing code says 30 days? And again, that's a council decision. I think it should be 120.
I think it's fair.
Without limiting them to 10 days in a row.
All right, any other comments for Lisa? Oh, yes, Denise.
Yeah, Lisa, I think it would be helpful if we went back to the original version rather than the version that we have now, and take a look at the changes that we talked about at the last meeting and start there anew.
Absolutely. I think Richard and I can work together to accomplish that. Thank you.
Thank you all. Fairly short and sweet, but they were all questions that are at least were important, at least in my mind.
And I appreciate you taking the time because you really dove into this. So I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're done with that subject. Thank you. All right, next we've got Agenda Review Committee, and that'll be Council Member Scott, Griebel, and Wills. Oh, Denise is taking Lisa's spot, Lisa Griebel's spot. All right, and that'll be August 15th at 9 a.m. It'll be via Zoom. And so we've got good of the order up next. Lisa Griebel, would you like to start us?
Thank you, Mayor. I just remind everyone again what a great town we live in, and we always remember that in the summer when the weather is so nice, how lucky we are to live in such a beautiful place. I've had lots of visitors this summer, and sometimes my visitors turn into property owners, so that's how I'm perpetuating the sell a property in our town, as I just invite my friends here all the time. And again, just what a great community we have with friendly new people. I have new neighbors that live across the street from me. Recently developed a lot, and actually it looks really good. They did a landscaping plan. It looks really nice. And I had a friend with a trailer, and she came down this week when I was at work, and I warned my new neighbors. I said, it takes her a while to park the trailer in my driveway, so just beware, because I can't help her. And when I came home, the trailer was parked in my drive, no problem. And she said she tried once, pulled out, and the new neighbor came across and offered to park the trailer for her and parked it in just one shot. So what a great community we are. And I love all the new neighbors that we're all getting across our city.
Right, thanks. Denise?
Well, there was already a thank you in public comment for everybody involved in National Night Out, so I won't repeat that. I did want to let everyone know that August 24th, Saturday, is Airport Appreciation Day. So come out. There will also be food there for everyone who is attracted by food, which seems to be quite a few people. There'll be model airplanes, classic cars, history of the airport, and hopefully, with weather permitting, other planes flying in. Also, I wanted to mention Debbie already called out the tribute to Judy McVeigh, but I went to the meeting on August 8th of the Public Arts and Awareness Initiative. And I wanted to thank that group for all they are doing. We have lots of community groups doing many things, but they are really looking to enhance our community with public art. So thank you to them.
All right, thanks. Allison?
Sorry I missed National Night Out. I was cruising in Alaska, where it was sunny and warm, believe it or not. I want to say a huge thank you to Rick Beveridge, Jane Shattuck, Joe DeVore, Councilmember Sires, and Sarah. They have put in so much time and so much work working on the ethics, and I'm very sorry we could not bring it tonight, but in talking with the mayor, we really wanted the attorney to look through everything, read it, give us a it's good to go, and also answer some questions that we had sent. But I appreciate all the time and the effort and the work that they've put into it. It wasn't an easy task. This was everything we were reviewing from other cities to make sure that we got things right. So I appreciate all your hard work, and I'm sorry we couldn't do it tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to do it next time.
All right, thanks. Lisa Scott?
I just wanted to say thank you again to all the volunteers who work at the kennel. I know that takes a lot of hard work, and I only wish I could adopt Trophy. That would be wonderful. I'm not sure it'd be good for a condo, but so anybody out there, please adopt. And just thanks to the community and everything everybody does from the Sunday market on down to National Night Out, and the staff especially for making everything continue to function and flow. And Sarah, thank you for picking Scott up when he's gone. I know he does it when you're gone. So it's great teamwork that makes it. So thank you.
All right, thanks. Tom?
It's me. I want to give a thank you for everybody who has sacrificed their time for dogs. Because I think the people that really know me know how much I love my dogs and what I do for the ones I have in my kennel. So it's a lot of effort, a lot of sometimes dirty work, but thank you for the time you're spending because they're going to good homes. Thank you again.
Thanks. Rich?
Well, you know the rumor mill in Ocean Shores. Is it true that more work got pushed out of Scott's office for the few days he was gone than when he's normally here? It was a rumor. I'm sorry. And Mr. Beveridge, the city wants to thank Rick Beveridge for his great addition to the Sand and Sawdust Festival and bringing kites in. And what's really exciting is every year it's been hard to build the sand portion of the Sand and Sawdust Festival. And kites are a great addition out there. And since you're so near the sand with your kites, is it true that you're going to build a huge kite sand sculpture next year? There we go. You heard it here first. There we go. And speaking of sponsors, I want to thank Pat and Jeannie Brunstad and their partners, Jason and Danielle Mearsman, for their ownership and their hard work developing the south end of town, Owehut Bay. They opened their event center, and look at the things you can do when you've got a plan and you work it hard every day. Owner managers, they live here. They put all of their money back into that development, and what a great job they've done. And we all know the amount of revenue that they have brought in for the city with what they've done down there. So I just wanted to thank them and thank them for their grand opening here a few weeks ago.
Right, thanks, Rich. I was able to be there for the opening, and I'll tell you that it's an amazing structure. It's a beautiful place, and try to get there and check it out. I hope, and I hear there's going to be some other events besides weddings there, so it'll be some things for the public to check out. Richard.
So, thank you. I agree with Lisa Griebel. We live in an amazing community. I had a great time at the National Night Out, and I want to thank everybody who was involved in making that happen. And I don't have COVID. I tested. I have a cold. So just so everybody knows. And that's all I have. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Richard. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned.